Yeah, so this is Gloucester Rhyme Fest. I'm here with the performers now. We're just going to talk about and discuss like our journey into music. So yeah, Jared, how did your journey into music start?
My journey, I've had a mad journey, but basically, like my dad had a sound system called Warzone, the baddest sound in the Gloucester town. Don't let nobody tell you any different yet. But he had a sound system. So now and then there'll be like blueses at the house, and the house is full of records, big speakers. So definitely that was the probably starting point. And I've always had a lot of music influences just in my family, uncles, neighbours, just friends. And I just love partying. So even from an early age, any parties I could go to, I would go to, and any rave events, I was just wanting just to be out and about. Because there wasn't that much in Gloucester, I was really close friends with like Malachi Patterson. He was like, I'd say he's well connected and networks a lot in Gloucester. We started putting on our own events, and then we met up with Jason Smith, and we started putting on a lot of big events in Gloucester. And I had a lot of support before that from my uncle who was putting on events called Eargasms, and that was like just early platform days for me. And things just kind of snowballed from there. And I think the main thing, which we'll probably get onto, is networking. It's just you meet other people who like-minded and on the same kind of vibe, and you either just go out partying with them or making tapes or doing CDs or running sets. There's like youth clubs. I've met you in the youth club days. Like one of my close friends, RIP to Aaron Brown, but Brownie would have like a session at his house every Friday where there'd be about 6 MCs, 2 DJs, and we just have a little vibe and run a set. And those were like the best days of my life growing up.
Was there any like inspirations, Gloucester people like you said, you did mention your uncle putting on events, but were there anyone that inspired you musically?
Dynamite MC was a big inspiration for me because I remember like one of the first albums that I bought, might be embarrassing, but I bought like Harlem World with Maze, and I bought Ronnie Size's Represent album. Those early days, I remember in those, and I remember like Dynamite was just from Gloucester, and then Brian G. But when Dynamite was with like Ronnie Size, and I saw him on telly, and that just like blew my mind. It gave me a lot of inspiration to see that, and
to see someone from the end, so to say, achieve it. And going around.
And it almost felt like it was not possible. But when you actually get to see that, I felt it was like, actually,
representation is important, man.
Of course it is.
What about you, Chris?
From my dad, really, hearing his music. Knowing my uncle's into music and stuff. My mum was all playing music. And then when I was in my teens, growing up listening to music, and me and my friends started doing music. But when I saw them doing music, it's natural to sort of get involved myself, do you know what I mean? And then that would have been like what Joe was saying in the youth clubs and little sets here and there and stuff like that, maybe at the park or whatever, but kind of fizzled out a bit and then just carrying on, do you know what I mean? Carrying on making my own tunes, little solo mixtapes and stuff like that, and then just, led me to the point where I am now, just trying to make albums rather than mixtapes, you know what I mean? So,
You both mentioned like youth clubs. How important was that kind of outlet or that platform to be able to go and learn your craft and experiment with music? I remember like people like Beefy taught a lot of people how to DJ, actually mix records in Colwell, things that we don't really have anymore in Gloucester, you know, so.
I remember youth club was like some of the best days of my life, and it wasn't like I was into performing or spitting, and I wasn't the best. It was like, everyone knows like Marky B was like one of the top guys at the end, and there was like Ruben Brissett, and there was ever like people around just doing stuff, but we was all just friends and just sharing music amongst us. Like, and then there was like the older lot, like Super D and Deadly, and Fido running sets. So we'd share like CDs and tape cassettes of people's sets just from the ends, and it was inspiring. And JD, like my brother, like he was just known for having sick DJ skills. And I remember, I remember seeing all the youngers like
What was your crew again, Grizz?
Resurrection.
Resurrection.
And then sensation combination. It was like almost like a friendly rivalry between the like it was on movements, man.
But it was like a network, innit? As in the full networking, but like everyone kind of, it's a place where everyone know each other.
Yeah, you didn't
Everyone
realise.
that's my man's cousin, or he's the, you know what I mean? You just know each other or whatever, like.
And there's a certain energy, like a competitive, like a constructive competition between each other because everyone wanted to have the baddest bars or
Yeah, exactly.
there's a little excitement about having
Well,
someone
what everyone
else.
wants to do is seem like, well, I'm going to come at this week or that or whatever, yeah.
What about you, Dave?
Yeah, my old man used to play guitar.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just used to sit around with, before he got sick and that, I just really enjoy watching him play guitar and stuff. I think that's why I got bitten by watching him, seeing him perform. Like back then, seeing him be the centre of attention kind of thing. I was like, wow, man, it's kind of a shy kid. I always wanted that. And just fell in love with hip hop.
Yeah.
And through that, writing, I found that I was kind of able to vent how I kind of put down. Now I look back on it, it never really seemed like that. But I was writing things down and seeing them on paper and making sense of them in my head. If you know what I mean? Like, it's like a cathartic therapy almost.
Yeah.
And then I got bitten by the bug of doing that. So for me, it turned into like spoken word. Although I really have always loved rapping, but it kind of, there was just more opportunities for me to do that where I was. So I started doing spoken word sets. But essentially, it would just be me rapping a cappella. Kind of like the piece, one of the pieces I put down here. It's just bars, but just a cappella.
Where did you grow up? I just wondering.
In Cheltenham.
Cheltenham.
Well, my dad's from Croydon. Well, my dad moved from Mauritius to Croydon. So I was kind of down there a little bit when I was a kid, up here, in Cheltenham town. And yeah, that's it. When I was in school, I had a CD by a group called Vital Organs. Don't know if any of you guys know Sketch. Sketch for me was a massive inspiration, man. And then like, I had that CD when I was in school. I used to vibe to it all the time, being like, these dudes are from my hometown. They are from Cheltenham.
The same again, it's that inspired by having someone local
That's
to
it.
be inspired
When
by.
I grew up a bit, me and Sketch, like, I was fucking starstruck, pardon my language. I was starstruck when I first met him out in the bar. You know what I mean? I was like, I used to have your CDs, listen to that every day. And then he was like, yeah, come to the studio. And he cut my first like demos and stuff. So I was just like,
So did you have like the youth, because we had, obviously it sounds like we had a really strong network in Gloucester without even not knowing it. And if you look back at it now, I don't think that's nowhere near as strong as it is now. You got the no cat boys, like,
Even before us, you know, as our parents, they all know each other and
yeah, big size
I mean,
and
it's
stuff,
like,
yeah,
yeah,
big
so-
connection. Did you feel like you had that in Cheltenham
I think I had that, but more just kind of like going around to friends' houses. Like my best mate, Josh, he had a pair of turntables. We used to go around there because I used to write bars. I've been writing bars ever since I was a kid. I never really used to show them to anybody. So I'd always be like beatboxing or trying to be a DJ. Like I tried to be a scratch DJ for a long time, but it didn't really work out. I was never really that good at it. Still do beatboxing now. I mean, with 5 mics and stuff. I really picked it back up, did a bit of the musical side of it.
Yeah.
But then kind of through doing the spoken word thing, I think that spoken word is so stark and it is literally, there's no safety net. It's like your voice, that is it, silence in the room. And I feel like putting myself in that position and on the spot like that really helped me develop, not just as in my delivery as like a rapper, but confidence-wise. So then I was able to kind of break the ice and stuff and jump into it.
When did the switch happen for you guys? Like, so we were all kind of doing things in bedrooms with our friends, youth clubs or whatever. Like in Gloucester, we did have the fair. Gloucester Fair, we used to have a stage where we could
Oh, that's
perform on.
amazing.
We had talent contests in Jamaican Club. We had some things here in Guildhall as well. So there was always something to look forward to. Like next year, when the fair comes, you know, we're gonna have something ready to perform. And there's a lot of excitement around those things. So we all started like doing stuff just for fun, as an expression, as an outlet. But when did that switch kind of happen from doing it in your bedroom, doing it with friends, to taking it more seriously and professionally?
I think for me specifically, I went to one of these. It was like a free party thing where they like rented out some town hall. It must have been about 17, and all the kind of party stuff was going on. And I remember I jumped up on the stage and I had a couple of drinks, whatever, feeling pretty brave. And jumped up there and did a few bars and stuff, and the guys were like, "Oh, that's really, really good." And got chatting to them afterwards. And then that, I can remember it specifically, I can really remember it clearly in my mind. That for me was the tipping point then. And I was like, right, this is all I want to do. And, I had lots of kind of like loads of different jobs and that kind of stuff, but nothing that I've ever I don't have any other thing that I've just carried on doing. I'm sure it's probably the same for everybody, that we pursue this stuff, not because there was no financial gain or anything like that in the beginning. You just did it because you love it.
Yeah, you got a passion for the music.
That's it,
That's the reason.
And it just carries on for some reason. It's the only thing that, I've carried on doing since I was a kid. And that now I'm so blessed that it's my job now. So.
I remember watching a documentary and Nas said, if there's something that you think about all the time, whatever you're doing, that's what you're meant to do. And I feel like that's with music and creativity for me. Like, whatever I'm doing, I'm always thinking musically, or thinking about a beat, or thinking about bars or something, you know what I mean?
So you're obsessed with it kind of thing, and then it's always kind of creeps back in, like, whatever.
When was that tipping point for you, man?
I was thinking that.
I remember, like, me and my brothers always messed around making tapes, like rapping, MC, and doing bits and pieces. That was like our expression. But then when I was in sixth form at school, I remember someone saying, "Yo, you're good, you know." And like that really stuck with me, gave me that confidence. And then I just continued doing it. And when people say, I know it sounds harsh, but we don't really tend to credit each other, man. We don't really tell people, "Yo, we're rich," you know. You know what I mean? We're kind of tough love. We kind of hold back from sharing our emotions and our feelings. So when people did like reach out and say, "Yo, Ryder, you're good," you know, then that kind of stuck with me. I'm good at this, so let me keep on. You know, that's the confidence boost I needed. And then Martin Fishley, we were doing stuff, and Martin Fishley was signed to Sony at the time, working with a group called Pressure Drop. There's another guy from Gloucester, Constantine Weir, who was also connected. And so this is like what you're saying is generational. There's guys that are a few years older than me, and there's guys that are a few years older than them, who have doors into the music industry. They know someone, and people were just making beats. So before then, I was rapping over like an instrumental track. We'd go and buy a record or get a tape and rapping over that. But then there was like Terrence White and Derek White. They were making their own beats. So I then started linking with Bagger Brown, Mike Banton. There's a whole group of them that were actually writing their own bars and making their own tracks. And then I started to like find my own samples and take it to these guys, start to mess about making my own beats. And then Mark took that to London, and the guys at Pressure Drop said, "Yo, we want to produce this record now with like Ryder." And from that, I started going on tour with them and doing bits and pieces. And then, like you said, you network. You do shows and then you meet people backstage. And over the years, that's what we've done. We just keep doing shows, keep doing festivals.
There's been loads of switches for you, and level up, you just like, there's been different points in your life where there has been, because as soon as you started mentioning all that, I felt like I've been on that journey with you, seeing all that development, and like you performing on Glastonbury and having your music on Apple.
That was crazy. When I saw that advert, man, I was like, that's so sick. And watching you on telly, Glastonbury and stuff as well, man, that's dope. As you're saying, I mean, Dynamite, yeah, he's incredible. You know what I mean? Brown,
and he's still doing stuff now.
I mean,
He just
put a
dropped
thing
a
out
project with DRS.
Yeah, and you put a project out with Charlie Tuna as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I think so.
And he's got a hip hop thing that he just dropped this week. Like he's still, so he'd be the same, and he's just always be moving up, like always progressing. That's why I don't think you could ever really stop. Like you've got like Jerry Peterson. I just asked you about that recently. Like I always feel like Grizz is constantly progressing and building, and I would say that for myself. But I feel like you kind of have to always keep going, keep working, keep networking, keep collaborating, and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. Anyway.
One thing that I would say about that though, that can be kind of sad, we're all Gloucester based and we all link together, and we've got people that we link with and work with, you know, olders, youngers, whatever. But in order to really make that shift, we've had to move out of Gloucester. So my main connection now is Bristol. And I'd say with the same thing.
Mine's Bristol.
You know what I mean? That's the frustration for me in Gloucester, like the lack of venues. And I don't know if I don't necessarily feel valued here or respected, or there isn't an outlet for me to do what I want to do here or build. There's no foundation, you know what I mean? There's no continuum. You do something and then there's nothing else afterwards. I don't know if there's anything that you guys kind of feel.
I mean, I was just going to say, like, when I mentioned the dynamite thing, how you saw dynamite out there. I feel the same thing when I look at you guys, do you know what I mean? Seeing you around, seeing like, you know, that jail street legend thing and that, it's like seeing how you progress and all that kind of stuff. It's like inspirational, man. See you guys, I kind of run into you guys occasionally at different events and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Watching your journeys and parts and leveling up is kind of, do you know what I mean? Inspirational.
It's nice that you say that, and it's like I used to always go around to Donovan back with Smith's house like after school at one point, and I was so popular at school because I had the freshest takes, but I would go and see him nearly every Friday. I was knocking on his house nearly every Friday, and he would show me like the shows he'd be playing at, and then I'd get a tape, and then he started helping me do sets. So I never got to go on the road with him as such, but it helped me like kind of develop, and then it made me reach out to people like TC and Clips, who I'm still really close friends with, and then Pinch. He's the first one to get me like bookings abroad. So you have to do a lot of the work yourself, and kind of people can be around you inspiring, but they might show you the door, but they're not bringing you to the door, but it's up to you to have to make your way there, and then you go through, and then you have to work and grind. I think a lot of people expect things just to happen almost overnight, and it's not really like that.
I think that I've got maybe quite a different journey to some people here, because I like make my crust from doing commissioned spoken word pieces. Like you do a lot of art stuff as well, do you know what I mean? And like that's where I've found my career. Like I mean, there's a project that's dropping tonight, which is like I've been involved with a theatre company. There's like an animated video that's attached to like I think it's childhood abuse awareness and just different projects. So I'm not like in my lane music guy. I just love hip hop. So it will always be my main drive. But for me, it's like I'm doing like theatre jobs. I'm doing writing commission pieces. My next thing I've got lined up for next week is like writing a prospectus for a secondary school. Like doing a spoken word piece that will be delivered by the kids in the school. The last project I did was, you know, when they put up that, they did the big projection onto the side of Gloucester Royal for the nurses.
I didn't see that.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
I wrote a poem for that.
Yeah.
So I wrote the poem that the nurses recited. So it's a different part.
Yeah, but that's amazing, and I think it would be great for people to actually hear that's the whole side of it's not just maybe music, like you get in a video up on YouTube, like
different avenues.
So if we move on from that, what you've just raised there, Dave, what are some of your aspirations? Like, because myself, music is my main, yeah, but all these other things that I'm doing, these creative things, the art, the documentaries, whatever else, it's all in me, you know what I mean? It's all part of me, and even from young I wanted to do these things. So what are your aspirations like musically? Is it just or, you know, in general?
For me, I'd just be like, to be doing it all the time, and like you said, it's in me, so I want to share it eventually, not eventually. Do you know what I mean? Like, so be in a position eventually where I'm facilitating and I can share it with people, do you know what I mean? And more people can get involved with it or make up their own mind about, do you know what I mean, what they want to do kind of thing. But
Are you happy with like what the projects that you've done? Because you've got quite a few albums out, like EPs, albums, working with different producers?
Yeah. Oh no, I want to do more. I always want to do more. Like I feel like even though I've been doing it for a while, I feel like I'm only just starting to get what I want to be. Do you know what I mean? What I wanted to be back then. Kind of thing. Now it's like, it's weird because it's not like I gave up, but it's kind of just forgot about wanting to be anywhere and now I'm there. Do you know what I mean? Like kind of just focus on making the music and then
What were some of the reasons why you felt that way, do you feel?
what, like to give up, not give up, but like,
Sometimes you get disheartened.
yeah, like when in the past when I've tried to make or listen to other people and there's, in your ears saying, I'll make something for this or something for that, or why don't you try this, and then it doesn't always work out, do you know what I mean? And at the time where I've just been like, do you know what, forget that, I'm doing my own thing, and certain mads come out of it, and do you know what I mean? And it gives you sort of self-confidence to be like, do you know what, like, I can sort of steer it a bit, do you know what I mean? So, yeah, in the future, I just want to be able to, because I'm currently working full-time as well, so make this music my full-time, and I think the most important thing is to share it as well, do you know what I mean? Get people inspired. Because then it builds it even more so. Because the more people that's doing it, the more chance I've got a job in it. Down here, especially, do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Sure. What about you? Have you like, is there anything else you'd like to achieve or?
Well, it's like, I guess, not in any sort of like jealous way, but it's like inspiring. Like, I've done loads and loads of features, but I've never done my own album. I've never even done my own EP. That's like, oh, this is a project. It's myself. And I get a bit funny about doing music videos unless it's going to be something really good. Like, so we've done a recent music video, we dressed up as characters, but we sat down and discussed. I said, I want to change the narrative. I don't want it to have this kind of stereotypical view of how we might be portrayed or perceived. I mean, like, I just wanted it to look visually different and just something unique. And so
Professional.
it's so
It's like a movie, man.
Yes.
and that's what I want to do. That's been my main thing. Even when you mentioned GL Street Legends, at the time, I was doing it to almost just show the council that when you gave us a small bit of money, this is what we achieved. Like me and Malachi, when we got together and we was able to, the year before, other people tried to claim that they got people together. And I said, no, I'm going to get the evidence, I'm going to film it and film that our tent is packed out. I've got loads of young people involved. We've got local artists as well as like national artists involved. Like, so that's what I was doing. And then I went to Gloucester Estate in London, like purposely to say like, what's the difference between Gloucester Estate in London and Gloucester City, and from then it was just networking, and that's been one of my proudest moments doing GL Street Legends. So it's been
It's like a legendary thing.
I hope so, because
It is, mate.
I haven't seen it for ages, and when we was doing it at the time, I'm just always a person that's just like, let me just go ahead and do it. Like Malachi's like more planned and structured, and I'm just the go at, and I like doing that. So I've always, even Lloyd, who put this on, he was doing a comic book years ago, and I always, yeah, it was incredible.
It's
And
incredible.
I was gonna voice the character, but stuff like that, I just want to be involved in so many things. So even all these years later, I still want to be involved in anything that's happening. And I'm seeing some of the younger people in Gloucestershire doing stuff. There's like Nades, she's like doing her own sort of music videos and developing her sound. There's like No Cat Boys, but I like to see other people coming up. And obviously I've hooked you up with like other producers, and then you've shared other links. Like, my main thing is just always try and just keep on building and getting other people on the map. Not even just in Gloucester, but everywhere. Like, I like to be a good networking person, and I'm not trying to hold anything for myself. And I'd love to be able to do some spoken word kind of vibes, but I know I find that even more daunting than doing a big festival. Like,
I'd love to
get the spotlight. Yeah, exactly. So you want different things, and
I think we just need the opportunity, man.
yeah.
We need some like support or something that can, like an umbrella that all these artists, somewhere we can all go and actually, collaborate, feel safe.
Yeah.
Because look at it like this, the things you mentioned, like Street Legends, you did that off your own backs.
With no
We
money.
need the documentaries you've been doing recently, like you've been doing it off your own back, like as far as I know anyway. We need the sort of facilities, the people, like the venues saying, okay, we're going to commission Ryder to go and do this. Instead of it being waiting for us to do it ourselves and then being like, oh, look how great Gloucester is, all this, all that. Not to be negative, but do you know what I mean? It's like, you didn't, to get, like you said, the reason why you did that, no one didn't hire you or pay you to do that. You did it off your own back because you're passionate, innit? Do you know what I mean?
Well,
And
that's
what
what
we
it
need.
is.
We need people that are sort of in these positions that are passionate and like,
And
push that, you know?
the thing is, we're from the communities, we understand what we need. People from the outside cannot understand what we need. So as a young black male at that time, you understand or understood the need of young black youth, or you understood the importance of a positive reflection of that.
Because in a way, I feel like we need to be finding the next youth who are on our journey, who've got that drive.
yeah.
So it's like us to be able to be great, because we never had any guidance. You know, like you never had any real guidance from people who like leading the way, really.
I had to find my own way.
Yeah, I felt like I've had that my whole life, really. You just learn things as you go along. I want to be able to like give that knowledge and that guidance to the next sort of generation coming up or building.
So regarding like everyone's careers, what are some of the successes? Do you have any highlights in your career so far? I know there's going to be lots more highlights, but anything that's you're really proud of like, at this point?
Really proud of. Oh God, it's so hard being on the spot with it because because I have to do so many different things to stay afloat, and a lot of those things I'm really proud of. Like I just said, that track that will be dropping tonight for the animated video, I'm really proud of. I mentioned the NHS thing, I'm proud of that. You know, like just spoken word pieces, and I mean, back to that, like what are my aspirations? I just want to make things. I just want to make art that makes people feel something.
Right.
That's it. That is my only aspiration. That's all I want to do, is just make art that connects with people, gives people maybe a vent, or like, you know, even in the context of just doing that kind of, you know, like party vibes, make people kind of forget situations for a minute. I mean, I feel like that's all I want to do. And like, if I can, and like, you know, keeping myself afloat and my family afloat, like, if I can pursue that and do that at the same time, then that's a massive win for me. I feel like sometimes in this world that we live in now with like Instagram and like this kind of, you know, this culture that we're living in, it feels so bam, bam, bam. It's easy to forget that just like being happy doing this is a massive success. Do you know what I mean? We're always sold the idea that you've got to be doing this big, it's all got to be big, you've got to be a star, da, da, da. I don't think it's like that. I think that people, you should measure that. If I was to give somebody some advice, I'd just say like, measure success by your own means. If you're happy and you're like performing and making art, then that is a massive success. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like so easy to lose sight of that now. And a lot of this like Instagram stuff that these young people are feeding into, not I'm that old, but a lot of it is fabricated as well.
So
I'm just saying about the views and stuff. I mean, me and you were discussing this earlier on now. Like, you know, you've got certain people who are like nurtured artists to be a certain way, to fit a certain, you know what I mean, little like the prototypes kind of thing. Like,
Everyone looks at them like they're this and this,
That's
really
the
not
guy.
even doing any of the work themselves half the time. It's like,
I met those kind of people and they don't really know the game.
yeah,
They've just been like,
there
somebody's
for the
taken
ride
them
kind
on.
of thing. Like,
Yeah, man, somebody's taken them on and molded them into it like an accessible artist. And, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's hard. It must be really hard for somebody like a young artist who's just starting out to see through that and see what's real. And like, if I had any advice, as I said, just if you're happy and you are like making pieces of art, then that's a massive success. You know?
You guys,
just some of the shows I've done, like in the Kazakhstan show I've done, that was like big for me, just because of the location. When you think of Kazakhstan, you don't think of grime music, you don't think of any kind of music really, and to go out there and like,
and we treated you well, didn't we?
yeah, and I was supposed to go out there with a DJ, and I got left at the airport on my own at the last minute. And I've said this to someone else before, at that moment, so I'm like, I've had it before where something just breaks inside you, click, and you're like, I can do this, I'm fine, man. Like, I get on this plane, I go there, I mash up a show out on my own, do you know what I mean? And it's just like, whether it's, I don't know whether it's you've had a nerve or it's this, or but something breaks, and you just like, before, when I was a kid, I was pretty shy. Like, I don't really say this much, I was quiet, like, real quiet. And doing live shows at first was hard. And then I just started to break, just like, if I'm not doing a good show, I look bad up there. No one ever you lot look bad, I look bad up there. People are going to watch me or listen to me again. So it's just like, telling somebody that, you know what I mean?
It's that determination, that drive that makes a difference, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's why you're still doing it now.
yeah, exactly, yeah, like,
Because it's not.
but yeah, like just some of the shows I've done, and like what Dave was saying, some of the feedback you get sometimes, I get like the other day I was tagged in a video and some people in Russia dancing to my tune, or this, I'm sure you might get this, I mean, non-stop, so I'm looking to you two as like inspiration, you know what I mean? Seeing some of the things that you've done, like some of the stuff you were like the advert you done for calls and stuff, and like you're in India, and seeing these things as a man from Gloucester, you two man from Gloucester, it's just like, yeah.
What about your successes?
I'm grateful that I'm still doing it. I believed in it and I did it. Like the Apple advert was big, but to me, what was bigger than the Apple advert was me saying overstand instead of understand. Like Rastafarian language and getting that on mainstream television everywhere. You know what I mean? Glastonbury, all these things. But like Grizz and Dave said, it's the fact that you're giving a message and you're giving something to people and you're inspiring people. And this is why I do the documentary work and the photography stuff as well, to make people feel so good about themselves and value themselves. Because, like we've been saying, we're all four of us are from Gloucester. We've all done amazing things. We've all been all over the world. We inspire so many people. We don't need to look outside of Gloucester. The greatness is here. And I want people to realize that the greatness is in themselves. You know what I mean? And when you can achieve it, you take a photo, or you give somebody a video, or you make a documentary, and they see themselves, and they feel so good about themselves. They say that it's better to give than to receive.
Yeah, of course.
When you make people feel so good about themselves, or inspire them, and you can see a look at you. The same way that I was told, yeah, Randy, you're good, you know. That inspired me, and that's why I'm still here now doing it. If I can make a young person feel that way, or anyone, value their life, their story, then that's the gift. That's what makes me feel good. That's what makes me, I feel like I've achieved something.
Real talk.
We're build champion, we're not kill champion, you know? And yourself, Jed?
I think you kind of wrapped everything up. Like, for me, like I've had loads of, I like seeing everybody getting success themselves, do you know what I mean? Like, using the Juno #1 jacket. Like, yeah. I remember how that felt when I first, you want to celebrate those things. I always feel like I worry about celebrating and feel like people think I'm showing off or anything like that. But it makes you feel good and it makes you have a sense of achievement that your music is getting out there and you have. Yeah,
so why would you not celebrate?
Yeah, so you need to kind of build up on that. I know you want to like build up on your streams. I remember going to Cygnus is really successful in Gloucester. That's a company, like a distribution company. I'm from like Gloucester people as well. Shout out to Dan and to Lewis. Like, it's so inspiring to see that company build. But I remember going into the company saying, I want to build up my Spotify numbers, and so I'm going to concentrate on that. So I was just making sure I was just working hard solely to build up on that, and then I wanted to work with Beatport. Ended up going to LA, going to the office and meeting some of the staff and saying, like, do you know what I mean? I'm actually working and grinding, and my main thing is literally just being a reliable person. Like, I don't feel like I'm the best lyrics fitter, but I know I work the hardest. Like, I don't think anybody could ever knock my work hustle and my grind. So I make sure when I go in the studio, I'm giving 100% and I'm working hard. And I'm not going to rush anything. I think I was in music for the longevity and because of the passion, like we said at the start. I'm not trying to be some overnight superstar. Like I said, you see those people come and go so quickly. You see the ones who are passionate, they're in it for years and years to come, like what we have been. So.
I would say that because being from this kind of little bubble where, you know, as you said, you see the people jump into Bristol and London and that's where they blow and they break through. Like, when I saw that thing on your story the other day, I think I sent you a message, like, I love seeing, like, yourself, Beth, you guys, like, love seeing you guys win.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And there's this real feeling of, like, that's the team.
Yeah, there's no jealousy. It's
because we're all
inspiring.
from it. Yeah, man. because we're from like an area where it's kind of, there's some opportunities have been on the ground with music.
Yeah.
So when I see you winning, and like as I said, Beth on the telly the other day,
Second.
doing his thing
The
on
monster
the
thing.
BBC, I was like, mate, do you know
Frankenstein.
what I mean? Yeah, it's like, I'm like, that's my team, and they know what it's like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's
I think for
something
me
like,
as well,
yes.
consciously, I thought like Gloucester was a hurdle, and then I sort of realised, well, this is sometimes the reason why I'm getting picked.
Yeah, but I said to you, like, I said, it's a positive, and it's
Yeah,
over. And I said, I love putting on my own parties when I was down here, like, I'm in events, like, he said, I've been booked if it weren't for, like, me and Mali, but then we booked Wiley, the pay as you go, like, from early, in those early days, because I wanted that, because there's
And I
nothing
think
else on.
when that sort of thing is not happening around here, those sort of sounds are not being played or as much, and you're the one sort of bringing it through, and everyone wants to hear it, but no one's put it on, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes when I do my grime stuff, there's this big thing about grime, especially down here, like, oh, no one wants to hear that. But when I start spitting, people love it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like they secretly want to hear it, but no one wants to kind of like, so it's just like that feeling of bringing something.
It's good to be true to yourself. I think I've always tried to. You're to me, you're an international artist. Like he's been to Australia, Japan, like the maddest places all over the world.
Address me as right.
King Riley, yeah.
King Riley.
International Riley. I said the thing is like you weren't just trying to get noticed in Gloucester or in the bubble. You were just looking to get your music out to the world, hopefully inspire other people, but just give out good vibes.
But
and good music.
the thing with that is I wasn't even trying to be out everywhere. I'm just being true to myself.
Yeah.
And you got to value yourself. And then me being myself, no one can beat me at being me. No one can beat you at being you. It's simple. And when your message people all over the world can relate to it, then you know what I mean, you're really proud of, there is value in your voice, there is value in your experience that helps others, there is a universal language that we're speaking, you know, so never doubt yourself, always be true to yourself and believe in yourself, because no one can beat you at that.